Yay! Hey friends that are joining us on Facebook Live, we're so happy to have you here. We've got Kim Beckham with us here today. We're super excited about this. We've got a wonderful full house today. So always remember you can watch us Facebook Live, and then after the fact you can go love our YouTube channel and you can see it there as well. So let's go over some great things we've got going on and then we'll get Kim started. Again, thanks for being here, y'all. So I can't say enough about this event. We had probably, I would say on average, between 225 to 250 people here. It was a very packed house, if you will. So much fun, great networking. The food was amazing. Dustin Becker was amazing. So many people have reached out through the chamber as well as to me directly, just thanking us for what a wonderful time it was. So my boss Michelle is looking at possibly like every other year trying to host an after hours since everyone had such a great time and we're in such great partnership with the chamber. So it all went wonderfully. Thank y'all for all those that showed up. We appreciate it. This is our upcoming, oh my gosh, September 26th is just, oh my gosh, a couple of weeks away. Ugh. Anyway, every year this thing sells out. We've only got 4 spots left, so if y'all are interested in doing this, you need to pronto ASAP. We've got the police department facing off against the fire department again, so Judge Neil Franklin will be there, Don Warren. It's become such a huge community event. Everyone has such a great time. We've also, thanks to TXU, we've got some raffle tickets for Dallas Mavericks tickets in October, so that's a great raffle to have. Huge thank you to all of our sponsors, Republic Services, the Mink Plumbing, all of our VIPs. I mean, we definitely could not do this without y'all's support. We truly value and appreciate that so very much. Let's go to the next one. We've got a bunch. Our Shred Day in Longview is coming up. We're partnering with Keep Longview Beautiful and Interstate Batteries on this one this year. We've changed it up. We normally do it at Drug Emporium. But we're going to try this one, and oh my gosh, it's going to be basically Longview Cleanup Day. So we're going to be providing all of the shred services. Thank you to Shred It for volunteering their services for us, which is awesome. Also, Integrity Financial is our sponsor, as well as Republic Services. Just want to thank them so very much. If y'all haven't attended one of these, it's pretty amazing. You literally bring all of your paper documents that you're wanting shredded. It is a free service. You literally sit in your car. We do all the work for you. You don't even have to get out. So that's one coming up in Longview on October 4th. Our next Lunch.Learn.Lead is my dear friend John Hart, who's also in the Rotary Club with me. He's such a great guy. He will be presenting on smart funding decisions, which is going to be awesome. Mark your calendars for that for October 8th. I just put all of these, and thanks to Origin Bank for sponsoring that event as well. We're so grateful for you. Lindale, we're partnering with them again, the chamber. They're at their offices. Oh my gosh, every year this just grows and grows and grows too. We love our friends over at Lindale Chamber of Commerce, Shelby and Lisette and all of them. They're great people. Arc Latex will be doing our shredding there. Again, they're offering that as a service to us for the community, which is absolutely amazing. Mark your calendars for October 15th. If anyone lives in that area, perfect time. Like I said, sit in your car. Everything is done for you. Boom. This is a good one that's coming up as well. In November, we're doing our indoor, which is a wonderful word to use in November, our indoor pickleball contest tournament. Huge thanks to Thrivent, B&L. I mean, all these sponsors have just made it possible. I mean, we couldn't do it without you. Anwar's place at Tyler Indoor Pickleball, he's real excited about that. He owns Pyramid Homes, and he's done a great job. We went and toured it, and it's absolutely amazing. So if y'all haven't registered for this, spots are filling up quickly on that as well. Woo! Okay, Shred Day Jacksonville, November 8th. I just wanted to put them all in there so we don't miss anything. November 8th, we partner with the city of Jacksonville. This is at the UT Olympic Center over there by the hospital. And every year it grows and grows as well. Thank you to Shred It for sponsoring and helping us there. And then the last Lunch.Learn.Lead of the year, our friends at Texas Bank and Trust are going to be speaking on how fraud impacts you and your business. Tell me that's not so important, seriously. We're so grateful to them, like I said, for sponsoring that as well as speaking at it. And now, my dear friend, Kim Beckham. Let me read this bio. I love it. Kim Beckham is a highly regarded speaker, leader, coach, and lifelong learner who has been leading people to success for over 45 years. Wow. He has led organizations as small as 10 people and as large as 1,000 people. He is a published author and is currently working on his 3rd book. Wow, that's amazing. Kim has a passion for development of leaders and has a thriving coaching and leadership training business as a John Maxwell certified coach. Amazing. He also is a sought-after speaker at corporate events. In addition to his work as an executive coach, he is entering the 4th year of offering monthly leadership training classes that have elevated the skills and careers of its participants. The class continues to grow in its 5th year due to the phenomenal results people are seeing in their professional and private lives. I love that. Kim has been happily married to Barbara Beckham for 50 years. Oh my goodness, I got chills just now. I still have hope. There's hope for me. And they have 2 lovely daughters, Jessica and Amanda, 2 fine son-in-laws who I can vouch for as well, and 4 above average grandchildren. I love the way you put that. Kim will make you think, help you dream, and teach you to believe in yourself and make you a more effective leader. Tell me that's not awesome. We welcome Kim back.
Thank you. Don't you just love Rochelle?
Yes.
If you look up enthusiasm in the dictionary, her picture would be there.
Oh,
I just love it.
you got 10 minutes to quit, Kim. Let me tell you, 10
She's
minutes.
a great communicator.
Thank you.
I love her so much. And so many of you already know. I know Casa, great fan of Casa. Southside Bank has been my home for 35, 37 years. Lonnie Uzel was my banker who signed me in as a personal banker 37 years ago. Now he's doing other stuff now. Anyway, and Cable's Roofing, we've known them for a long time, and Macy, and a great group they got there, and a lot of the others that are here. I do want to do your large equipment thing. I would love to come drive one of those pieces of equipment, you know, so I'll swap you out a coaching training session. You let me come drive around a little bit or something. I just see those things like, I should have done that for me. That would have been so cool to get to do that, and all of the rest of it that I haven't got to meet and know yet. But thank you for coming and being a part of the program. And we do want to make it worth your while today. I do have a handout sheet for you because I do believe that we retain information better when we write things down as well as when we listen, because we're activating more parts of our brain. And by the way, one positive thing before I get into the lesson, love Better Business Bureau. I'm on the board of the Better Business Bureau. I am a certified business. They do a great job. I'm glad y'all are here and being a part of it today. All right. Okay, so let's talk about leadership. I've been assigned the topic to teach developing future leaders and building a culture of leadership growth. Now, why is leadership important? And we'll go into that in a minute. But I have a motto, phrase, concept that I like to teach, and that is on that bottom of that board there, that bottom line, it says, once you maximize your use of technology, you know, these wonderful cell phones and computers and all they can do for us, and ChatGPT and all that. Once you maximize that and your personal time management, maximize the use of technology and your personal time management. You're being very disciplined. You're doing things in an organized and clear way. The only thing left to you to help you grow as a leader and to help your team grow is other people. The only way to grow after you maximize use of technology and time management is other people. This is where team building becomes so important. So if you want to grow beyond, I taught a lesson yesterday on leveling up. I was working with some child care, East Texas network of child care providers, and we were talking about if you want to move from being just an employee or just a manager to somebody that's running the organization, some of the skills you're going to have to develop. You have to think differently. You have to look at things differently. And one of the things is you have to understand that you have to work through other people. Now, unless you're just a great computer programmer or a great at driving a piece of equipment, most of you are going to need to work through other people. And if you own the business, you're going to have to work through other people. So we're going to have to learn to develop leaders. So leaders are so important to what we're going on. You know, when I started being interested in personal development, when I went to my first day of Bible college. Very early in my life, I am a man of faith. I surrendered to be a preacher of the gospel, and I went off to Bible college. I was very excited about it. Still am after 45 plus years of it. But when I was in the bookstore, because in those days they had actual bookstores, I was in the bookstore and I was getting my books for my classes, and they had one of those little paperback racks in there, and I picked a book up off of it, and it was called Successful Leadership, something like that. And you still see the colors blue and yellow in my mind. And I started reading it, and it was full of the concepts of developing leadership and personal development. And I fell in love with that material at that time, and all through my career I've studied it. I've studied from everybody from Tony Robbins to Brian Tracy to John Maxwell and many, many other people in between. And I love the idea of helping people get better. I want to help you get better. I want to help you grow. So today we're going to talk about this idea of building a culture of leadership. In your organization, do you have a culture of leadership? Now let's start why. Why do we need it? Because we've got to work through other people. That's a picture of John Maxwell. Me and John Maxwell, I got to take a group photo with him when I finished my certification. He has written 26 best-selling books on leadership. He has over 30,000 coaches that follow his program around the world. He's one of the world-renowned experts in the field of leadership. And he has a catchphrase that says, everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If you want to look at anything that involves more than one person, and even in a business that's only one person, it's still going to be your personal leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership, whether it's a church, whether it's a school, whether it's a business, whether it's a chamber of commerce. I don't care what it is. The leadership makes all the difference. I spent my life in the world of churches, and I can guarantee you there can be tremendous difference in how well a church does when they change their pastor. And because everything rises and falls on leadership. Have you ever, did any of you watch the football games? How many of you guys at least are excited? Football's back on, maybe the ladies too? Yeah, football. Did you watch the Sunday night game, you know? So I have such a good game Sunday night, but I made the mistake of quit too early. I mean, I went to bed when there was still 6 minutes left in the game because the other team was ahead by 15 points. And what happened? They came from behind, scored 15 points in 4 minutes and won the game. But everything rises and falls on leadership. Have you ever noticed in an organization like that, a football organization, when a team's not doing well, what do? They get a new coach. Well, what does the coach do? He doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't run the ball. He doesn't make any tackles. Why do they need a new coach? Because everything rises and falls on leadership. And so you better believe it's important. Now, leaders can propel a group to success, while poor leaders will lead to its decline. I see this all the time. I work with different organizations where leadership is a real problem, and it's what's holding them back. I've discovered this partly when I had the privilege of leading Central Baptist Church right around the corner. I came from a church that had about 450 people in a town of 700, but I only had 3 people working on my team. And I got invited to come to take this church here, and it was a great honor in my life and one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I got to stay there 35 years. But honestly, the first 10 years were not that great. I understood spiritual skills. I knew how to write the sermons. I knew how to speak. I knew how to do a funeral. I knew how to do a wedding. I knew how to do that. But what I didn't understand was how to run a larger organization. And this church had 10 different direct reports. They had $5 million worth of property. They had 33 acres of land and on and on. And I came from an organization where basically it was me working with people one-on-one. And as long as it was me working with people one-on-one, we did good. But when I got to the point where I had to work with a team and try to help them be effective, I didn't know how to do it. And I floundered at it. Now, the church didn't fall apart, but we didn't have good growth. And for a number of years, I was very frustrated. And then, you mentioned Leadership Tyler. I had the privilege to get involved with Leadership Tyler and got invited to be in it and learned some great leadership skills, continued to learn leadership skills. And I learned how to build a team. I learned how to coach. I learned how to organize. I learned how to set direction and vision. And the church doubled in size in the next 5 years. Leadership makes all the difference. Now, obviously God has a part to play in that. I'm not downplaying that. But I am saying that I saw the difference that leadership skills made in the organization that I was attempting to lead. And so that's why I'm passionate about sharing the concepts of leadership. All right. So let's talk about the law of the lid. John Maxwell says there's the law of the lid. Basically, the greatest bottleneck to your organization could be you. You cannot develop leaders, that third one down, you cannot develop leaders greater than yourself. If you use the letters A, B, and C, I would write on the board, but I can't write with this hand, it would be legible. If you're a B leader, you can lead C leaders and D leaders, but you can't lead A leaders. And if you want your organization to grow, you've got to have A leaders. And so sometimes there's a lid on our organization, and the lid is the leader, because you can't manage people who have greater leadership skills and ability than you have. So the first step is, what are you doing to grow as a leader? You might be the one that's holding the organization back. I was the one at that church that was holding the organization back. I wasn't trying to, but I needed to learn some skills. I needed to have some training. I need to get better at working with people, because I was the lid on the growth of that church. So, how well you lead determines how well you succeed. How many people would consider you a good leader? And then, if you want your team to grow, you must be growing, because we got to keep growing. So my question to you is, what strategy do you have for personal growth? What strategy do you have for your personal growth? Because you can't be the same today that you were yesterday and continue to move ahead. A number of years ago, I was working through a crisis, and part of my leadership challenge, and I have a personal coach, and she was talking to me about it, and we had worked through a very difficult situation in my leadership and in the church, and we got that behind us, and all of a sudden, we had been about 5 weeks past that, and a new crisis arose. And so I was sharing it with my coach, and she said, you know, Kim, you're just going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because if you're going to lead, you're going to always have challenges. So, how many of you started at entry level in your organization or your business or your career, right? And then you did really good at your work. So if you maybe a good example is sales. You start selling cars, and you sell a lot of cars. So what they do is they come to you and they say, you know, you're such a good car salesman, we're going to make you sales manager. And then you become a manager. You know what the first thing you have to do is when you get promoted from being a worker to a manager? You have to stop working. Because whatever you were doing in the past is not going to work in that new position. Because your job is no longer to do the task that you were doing. Your job is to make the people that are doing that task successful.
Right.
That's a different skill set. That's where leadership comes in. This is where you got to develop leaders. And so my question is, you never. My point is, you never reach the end of that. Because every time you master a certain level of your personal success, you get promoted. You get more customers. You get a wider range of opportunity. And what that does is throw you into discomfort again. I forget who was the trainer who said that our greatest success usually lies on the other side of our comfort zone. And so we always have to be realizing that if we're going to grow, we've got to get out of our comfort zone. You say, I'm so tired of being uncomfortable. Then you need to get tired of success. Because if you get successful at a certain level, it's going to bring new challenges, new difficulties, and you're going to have to learn through it again. So my question is, what's your personal strategy for growth? What are you doing to grow? If I sat down with you and said, okay, you had this level of success last year, what are your goals for the new year? And then what is your plan for achieving those goals? Have you thought that through? Every great leader has a strategy for growth, a personal growth plan. You say, I need a growth plan for my business. Yes, you do. But you also need a growth plan for yourself. What are you doing to grow so that you can become more? Because again, you don't want to be the law of the lid. You don't want to be holding the organization back because you can't lead higher level leaders. All right, so what we're going to do is end up with a plan for developing leaders. So how we're going to do that is we're going to decide what you will focus on in building leaders. And 2, decide which leaders you will invest in. And 3, decide what you will do in order to develop those leaders. That's a very simple plan for developing leaders. But before we go there, I want to stop and do a little work. I put a formula on the board, and I put a piece of paper, a line in your notes, and I want you to do a little work together. I want you to find a partner. I think we've got enough where everybody can have at least one partner, and I want you to brainstorm a formula for discovering leadership potential. What kind of characteristics in people make them people who have leadership potential? As you're looking at your downline, as you're looking at the people who work for you, as you're looking at the people who are coming into your organization, you say, I'm going to make leaders out of everybody. Well, we're going to talk about this a little more in a moment, but you can't make a leader out of everybody. Not everybody has leadership potential. So what kind of things, if you were filling in that blank there, blank plus blank plus blank equals leadership potential. So let's just take a moment, find you at least one partner, let's do a little work together, turn around, grab somebody, and discuss it amongst yourselves, and create me a 3-blank formula for these 3 things. When you add them together, they would equal leadership potential. When I see these in other people, it equals leadership potential. So work amongst yourself, okay? Would you do that for just a few minutes? Don't be shy. Move around. Yeah, that's good.
Obviously, developing leadership, so that's how I'm before I include employees myself and candidates for the position of leadership growth. So when I think I find someone, I find out they're doing it, making no shortcuts the wrong way around things, and that's not how I operate. Whenever I do have this, I think all these people will be great. It's like I don't have enough workflow at the time to that's been my experience. I think they're listening and learning. Follow. I think to be a good leader, you have to be a follower first. Trainable. Reliable. Organizing, reliable. I would say if you were on time, or time problem solver. Person that's a problem solver. Someone that figures out solutions. There's like a person that there's one that problem
Just a couple of more minutes and I'm going to close you down. All right. Everybody got a formula now? Yes. All right. Okay. Let's kind of bring it to a close. So what 3 words or 4 would you put in that blanks? Formula, that if I'm looking at people, I consider them as having leadership potential? Y'all are really digging into this. I like it. All right. Okay, I'm going to have to stop you for time's sake, but we got some work done. Let's go with what we got. All right. So I see some bold hands going up. Let's get somebody's formula. If you're looking at people, what qualities do you think, back row back there said, okay, what 3 qualities or 4, whatever, equals leadership potential in your mind?
We came up with vision, or be a visionary, proper training to equip your employees to make sure that they can get to that level, and then lead by example.
Okay, good. That's really good. That's a little bit different. That's how you develop leadership potential. But if you were looking at it, someone and saying they have leadership potential. So did anybody look at it from that point of view?
Sorry.
Alicia, do you have? Elisha? Ashley, I'm sorry. My eyesight negative. Ashley.
Yes.
Ashley.
We came up with communication, grit, and integrity.
Ooh, hit me harder on that grit.
Resilience.
Okay, very true.
Tenacity.
Have you read Angela Duckworth's book on grit?
I haven't.
It is an amazing book on grit. Very good book. Good. So 3 good. Anybody else? What did you have down? All right, yes, ma'am.
Okay, our group, as you noticed, we were.
Y'all were into it. I like it.
We were. So our formula would be, we're looking for someone that's trainable, reliable, problem solver, and with the problem solver, that comes along with being self-motivated.
Good. That's a good list. Very good list. Anybody else, guys, gals? Anybody?
We got accountability, motivated, and trustworthy.
Accountability, motivated, and trustworthy. I like those. Those are good. All right, ladies. Are y'all?
We got passion and drive, empathy and independence, equals leadership potential.
Good. Very good work. And did y'all rework yours in the back?
Yes, we're gonna let you
All right.
this time.
What's the reworking of it?
Okay, we rework.
Initiative, coachable, and have humility.
And you know, here's the key to this discussion. There are no wrong answers here. Because your leadership development is going to have something to do with your leadership awareness. It is going to have something to do with the qualities in you that respond to that person. So it may be, everybody's might be a little bit different in what you're looking for. Now here's what I have in mind. Ambition plus energy plus confidence equals leadership potential. If I have an employee and I'm looking out there, I'm looking for somebody who's ambitious. I mean, you know, there are certain people, and I teach this in my trainings, most of the people who go to work in our corporations only do the minimum they have to do not to be fired. That's how they approach every day. Those people are not going to be people I'm selecting for leadership training. Unless I think I can get them motivated. But what I'm looking for is that person who shows ambition. I'm looking for energy because it takes work. You know, you're not going to grow if you're not willing to put time and energy into it. And then confidence, because you have to be able to put yourself out there to do it. Now, again, this is my list, and it might be different at different times. But your list is going to be what's in you and how you respond to the people. But when you're looking at your pool of possible recruits, that you say, hey, I see Bob or I see Susan, and they have potential for leadership, and I want to put them in some leadership training classes, Dale Carnegie, Ryan Brand's Core Insight, Kim Beckham's Prayer, whatever. I'm going to put them in some leadership training because I see potential. These are how do we develop. Yes, here's the sad fact. Not everybody is going to be a leader. Let's go a little bit further with this idea. How do we spot potential leaders? How do they accomplish their work? When I'm looking downline to my employees, if I assign them a task and then I watch to see what they do with it, do they just complete it with a minimum effort, or do they find a way to improve the project? Do they just do the work themselves, or do they just naturally involve other people in the work? That's a great clue. If I got somebody, I've given them this task, And I noticed that, hey, they've gotten to a couple of other people to, and you know, get some of their input and invite them into it. That's a great example for potential that they got leadership. And certainly, I don't want somebody just going to get it crossed off their desk and throw it back on me with a minimum time. I want somebody that's looking to do this job. Second thing, who has influence? John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If you want to know whether you're a leader or not, turn around and see if anybody's following you. Because if nobody's following you, you're not a leader. Leaders have influence. If you want to know who your potential leaders are in your organization, look to see, do they speak up in meetings? And if they do speak up in meetings, do people listen to them? Do people get quiet when they talk? I mean, you know, there might be some good-natured teasing going on, but basically, if they start to talk, people go, okay, I'm going to listen to see what they have to say. And then do others just seem to naturally follow their lead? Leaders are going to lead. You know, I was talking to my wife the other day, and you know, we were I was whining about, you know, this little surgery and that deal. By the way, how many married women do we have in here today? You know, how many of you believe that it says in the vows that, you know, you've got promise to do this, do that, do this, and it also said, I tell my wife, it should have said in there somewhere, if you promise to listen to whining, because it surely says that. My wife says, no, it wasn't in there. And she doesn't like to listen to the whining. But sometimes I like to whine. The poor girl has to listen to the whining for a little bit. But anyway, the point is, I was whining about something, and I said, you know, maybe I'll just go get me a job and drive a bus or something. And, you know, nothing wrong with that. She said, you'd be miserable. It wouldn't be 2 days. You'd be griping at the leaders, telling them how they ought to do it better and how they could make it this way and that way. Because you're a leader, and you're born to lead. Leaders lead. Listen, in any organization, there will never be a leadership vacuum for long. That's why if you're in the leadership role, you better be leading. Because if you're not leading, somebody who is a leader in that downward group is going to rise up to leadership. And it's going to take it sometimes in a direction you don't want to go. But leaders are going to lead. We walk into a room and there's something going on, somebody's going to lead. Some of you are involved in leadership, title, chamber of commerce, other things like that. And it's an interesting dynamic because everybody in that room is a leader. And when you go into these organizations, it's like, who's going to be the leader? Because we're all trying to lead because it's their nature to lead. All right, so these are clues. I mean, you can have other clues, but when you're looking to say, who should I invest in for leadership potential? These are some things to look for. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that not everybody is going to lead. One of the interesting things that I've had this past 5 years experience is that people sometimes are sent to me to develop into leaders, and I do the best I can, but it doesn't really work. Not everybody is going to be a leader, and that's not bad. Not everybody's meant to be a leader. There's a lot of great roles in our organizations for people who just want to be rank and file workers. A lot of great roles there. But sometimes we try to push a good rank and file worker into a leadership position and it doesn't work. And does anybody feel comfortable reading that would read this paragraph for me? I'm not going to call on you to read. If anybody does feel comfortable reading that would read that for me.
Definitions of leadership abound. For this brief exercise, let's frame it as a leader is someone who defines and resources effectively how to get a group of people and who share a common purpose from one place to another. That change of place could be a set of goals and objectives, a wilderness excursion and safe return, or a meaningful shift in an organization's culture. Place can be geographic, philosophical, economic, or a state of being, etc., within that definition in mind.
Thank you, Ashley. So leadership means I'm right here, and I need to get over here. Or I'm right here, and I got all these people behind me, and I need to get them over here. So I've got to use my leadership skills to move them from one place to another. Now here's the truth. Influence alone will not move people from place to place. Not all who influence are capable of getting people from place to another place. Just because someone has followers doesn't mean they're actually leading. We're living in the world of influencers, right? And so people are making a living just letting people watch what they do online. But they're not necessarily leading. They may be influencing people, but not necessarily leading. So when you're looking down the line, okay, I'm going to develop a leader. I want somebody who can actually lead people. One of my favorite definitions of leadership is a leader seems further and faster than anybody else in the organization. And what the leader does is point to where we have to go. Here's where we are now. This is where we need to go. You see where we are, and you see it before they do, and you see further than they do, and then you say, we're going over there. Now, the only difference between success, the only way of success, you as a leader, this is you saying, we have to go over there, and the only thing between that destination and your team is just your personal confidence, your leadership skill, your ability. Leadership is standing in what is while you're pointing to what will be, and the only difference is you as a leader. And it takes a lot to make that happen. So, we want leaders. All right, 3 steps to develop leaders. Number 1, we want to locate potential leaders. We've just been talking about who might do that. Number 2, we want to set up a program to help them grow. And number 3, you've got to be willing to invest time, money, and energy to equip them. All of you are well aware in your businesses that your budget determines what's important to you, correct? Well, the item line on your budget tells you what's important to the organization. If the item line is equipment, then equipment's the main thing we need. If the item line is personnel, whatever it is. So it's ridiculous to say, I want to develop leaders and not set aside money in the program to do that. I get tickled at this all the time because I'm always working with companies and I say, hey, what are you doing? They say, our most valuable asset is our people. Great. Okay, what are you doing to develop the next generation of leaders? Well, we're not doing anything. Well, how do you expect them to grow? Well, things are tight right now. We just don't have any money to spend on that. Okay, but if you don't spend any money on it, you're not going to have any growth in it, and you're not going to have any leaders, and nothing much is going to happen. So, locate potential leaders, set up a program to grow them, invest time, money, and energy to equip them. You've got to be willing to invest. Mentorship and accountability. Mentorship is saying, I see this potential leader, and I'm going to work with them individually. I believe that regardless if you have a HR department that's responsible for your leadership growth, every good leader should have at least one person that they're mentoring as an emerging leader. Who are you mentoring? Who are you personally investing your time in to help them grow to the next level? Because there's no greater potential for growing leaders than that personal touch and that involvement. And here's an interesting question. Let me ask you this. Some of you have already done this. Sometimes we start helping somebody grow and we start trying to develop them, and it becomes apparent after a while it's not going to work out. It's not going to go. So how many of you have ended one of those relationships, or how many of you just keep enduring that relationship? And how do we know when it's time to step away if the growth is not happening? So you don't have to name names and you don't have to be personal, but let me give you some concepts or ideas. If you have been involved or are involved in mentoring someone and they're not going in, what are some signs that it's not working and you need to step away from it? Anybody?
Lack of interest.
Lack of interest, okay. Good one.
Results.
Lack of results. Resistance, yeah. You know, people don't like to change. We had a saying in the church that nobody liked change except the babies in the nursery. And even they don't like it very much. So, people don't like change. Change is hard. So there is no growth without change. Growth is change. Change is growth. So if you're not changing, you're not growing. Your organization, that's why, you get left behind. So, but change is uncomfortable, so people resist it. You're meeting with them and say, hey, this is what we need to do. And they go, yeah, but I'm used to doing it that way. Well, how's that working for you? Well, not so good. So where do we do this? Well, I still don't want to do it. Well, so then maybe you start saying, maybe this is not a person. I got to keep them there. For me, if someone, I spoke yesterday, I had a new person reach out to me and ask me to invest some time in them. And one of the things I've done that when I meet with people, if it, it's not, even if it's for pay, but even if it's just a pro bono on my part, is I'm going to assign you the task, and if you don't fulfill those tasks, we're not meeting again. Because I'm not going to meet with you if you're not going to do the stuff I tell you to do that's going to make you better. So what good is it for me to tell you this will make you better, and then you don't bother to do it? So I'm not going to spend any time on that. I don't mean it. I would never say that ugly. I'm really nice and sweet. Ask anybody. I would never say it that ugly. But that's what I would say. I'm not going to meet with you. Anyway. Anybody else have anything that is a warning sign that's not working out?
If they're making poor decisions and they want you to save them all the time.
Yeah. People understand sometimes intrinsically that if they can attach themselves to a rising star, they can rise with them. But they're not willing to do their personal work. And so, yeah, it's a good example.
So true.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm not going to just drag you along with me. You're not going to do your part, then we're not going to do it. Good ones.
Excuses too. Well, I guess that's lack of interest. So.
Yeah.
Every time they have an excuse. Yes.
Why they can't meet, or why they didn't complete something.
Yeah. Yeah. Try telling the electric company your excuse for why you're not making the payment.
Dark.
It's going to be dark.
Yeah.
That may be the reason why you're not doing it, but they don't care. You can pay the payment or you whatever. All right. You want in your company to build a culture of ongoing growth. Leadership is not a one-time event. It needs to become part of your organization's DNA. And your reputation, your goal should be that you want to have the reputation as a place where leaders are developed. We were fortunate that our last number of years in the church to develop a number of great leaders, to the point that other churches and other communities were constantly raiding our staff, grabbing our good people, taking them away from us because we had developed some good leaders. We would hire them really young because that's what we could afford, and then we were investing in leadership and helping them to grow, and somebody who could pay them more and bigger opportunities, stealing them. And so my executive pastor and I just got together and talked about it and said, you know what? This is a great compliment to us. It's a compliment to us that other churches are saying about our church that we are a place that develops leaders. But what it means for you and I and our team here is we've got to constantly be looking for who's next. If you're a good leadership developer, some of your people you develop are going to outgrow you. They're just going to outgrow you. And it's not going to be because you don't try, but sometimes you just don't have the resources or you don't have the opportunities that they need for their continued growth. And so they're going to leave you. But that's not criticism. That's a compliment. That you've grown, and your goal should be their success. And so if I've helped them grow to a level that they can find a higher level of success somewhere else, then yay me and yay us, and who's next? So that's where we're going.
Love that mentality. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Won't do any good to get all mad and grumpy about it because it is what it is. All right. So, closing challenge. Scout potential. Constantly be looking at your people. Constantly looking at who's coming out. Leadership Tyler is a great organization from the point of view, they've already done the scouting for you. You just need to go look at their list of names. And you may not be able to afford them, you may not be able to grab them, but at least you know these are people who, you can't get in there without getting vetted, and so you know that. And other things do that. A lot of other organizations do that. You mentioned Rotary. Rotary is a great training program for developing leaders, and many other organizations like that. Invest in growth. Make a decision right now that number one, you're going to invest in your personal growth. What are you spending on you? Are you spending money to make sure the equipment works? What are you spending money on to make sure that you're coping with the new world, the new problem, the new difficulty? And I coach a number of high-level executives, and one of the things I learned is high-level executives reach a point where they don't have anybody to talk to. They can't talk to their board sometimes if they're a nonprofit because it would sound like they're griping. They can't talk to their team because it might discourage their team. They don't want to take it home and discourage their mate. So who do they talk to about their problems? They need a coach. They need somebody they can talk to help them understand. Yeah. And so unashamed plug here. They need a coach they can talk to, somebody they can talk to, or an organization they can get involved in, or peer group organizations they can join where they're around other leaders on their same level, because they have to get that information. But invest in your personal growth. What are you doing to personally grow? You know, I've been doing leadership for 40 plus years. I still have a personal coach. I took a brand new coaching program last year that cost me $33,000 to take that coaching program because I want to get better. And I know I don't know everything. And I know I got to keep getting better. What do you do to increase your growth? Mentor with purpose. When you're working down, how can I help this person get better? How can I help them reach their goals? How can I do it? One of the things I did was do one-on-one coaching with everybody on my team, once a month, meeting with them in a coaching program and saying to them, this is your time. This is how we help you grow. This is how we help you hit new levels. Created a reputation for developing leaders because the future depends on leaders you develop today. You know, you get good enough in your organization, people will start almost paying you to work for you. In the church world, that's already going on. How many are familiar with like Passion Church and other churches? They're huge, very large churches. They actually have an internship program where they invite young people coming out of training to come to work in their program, and they're a very large organization, and they don't pay them. Instead, the interns pay the church for the privilege of working with them for 1 year. Why? Because they have a reputation for developing leaders. And having that name, that you were on the staff of Passion Church, means something. It means you're exposed to things, exposed to ideas. It means you saw training. It means you're going to have a better time in life. So you should have, you may not be able to have people paying to work for you, but you should develop a reputation that, you know, hey, they work for so-and-so. I know they learned some good stuff because I know Shawana's over there, and if Shawana's over there, they're learning good stuff. That kind of thing. That's what you want to have a reputation in the community. Because that's what's going to get you the A players, which are going to move your organization up. All right? All right. Any feedback? Anybody want to talk about leadership a little bit? I got 2 minutes.
You got 1 or 3 books you recommend?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, I have at least 10. It almost needs to be more area specific, but I start in my class, we start with the book Goals, G-A-O-L-S, by Brian Tracy, and Shawana's done
It
it.
is a great book.
Yes. If I could only give you one book for personal growth outside of the Bible, it would be that one. And I would get that book and do it. It's a very inclusive book. Right now, I'm very much in love with the book Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. Getting a lot out of it. It's a lot about team building and how to build great teams. And my favorite book the last few years was The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. And it was by Admiral McRaven. The bullfrog is the highest ranking officer in the Navy SEALs. That's his nickname, Bullfrog, because they're frogmen. And so Wisdom of the Bullfrog is a leadership book about leadership lessons that he learned working as a Navy SEAL. It's short, concise, and universal knowledge and appeal into it. It's a great book.
What did you say his author name was?
McRaven, Admiral McRaven. I think it's William McRaven. But if you Google Wisdom of the Bullfrog, you will get it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
We just recently, Michelle's amazing and had us read Start With Why.
Simon Sinek.
So good, yes. I mean, in that Start With Why, yes, there's one on it.
Very good book.
So
Very
good. I mean, I like it because it's so relational. I mean, he puts in Apple and all the big dog names, and you know, when he compares Walmart and all that. And then at the end of the book, he really focuses on himself and says, "This is what I basically had to get out of his own way, if you know what I mean? So I really like that one too. I just thought.
Great book, great book.
So-
Podcast, you ought to be listening to podcasts in your car or wherever. And certainly Audible books, I do a lot of Audible all the time. Yeah, it's pretty much all I do now. But there's a great podcast out there, different people. But most of those people we just mentioned have podcasts, and you can listen to them. I've been a big fan of Tim Ferriss for years, and his podcast, which is dedicated to trying to figure out the common factors of success with hugely successful people in all different areas of life. So I like his podcast. It's kind of lengthy, but if I'm going on a long trip, it's good to listen to. Anybody else have a comment or question?
How do you get out of your way as far as people pleasing? While me and Michelle have great conversations, and I've just always been, I want everyone to be happy, and I want to impress everyone. Not impress, but I just want to leave them better than I found them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But how do you get out of that mentality, even trying to become a leader, if you will, of the people pleasing, especially in today's society with social media and all that?
Well, we all have our natural characteristics. I'm a certified DISC trainer, and I train people in their broad profiles, DISC profiles, but each one has its particular areas. But we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and our pleasing people is just the flip side of your strength of being a people person. And being a people person means that people like you, they want to be around you, you make a good first impression, you get around people. But our strength carried to its extreme becomes our weakness. So if you want to look at your weakness, just trace it back. And usually it's going into the area of your strength, but it's just your strength carried to an extreme. So you have to go, okay, this is a good thing, but I got to know when the stopping point is. And,
Boundaries. That's another good book.
Yeah. But for me, and I'm a bit of, is anybody here a real people pleaser besides Michelle? Yeah. I had a lady in leadership, Tyler, we were doing exit coaching, and she said her problem was she was doing too much. She was overwhelmed. She was on every board and everything, and she was worn out. And I said, well, you need to narrow this down so you can focus on what you need to do. And she said, but I just can't say no. I just can't say no. And I said, you can't say no? She said, no, I can't say no. I said, good, give me $20. And she looked at me, she said, what? I said, well, give me $20. And she said, I'm not giving you $20. Oh, you can say no. So why is it we can say no about our money, but we can't say no about our time? It's because we more instinctively know the value of our money, and we downgrade the value of our time. So the bottom line of that whole conversation is, what's my ultimate goal? Is this pleasing this person or organization helping me get to my goal, or is it keeping me from my goal, and maybe even keeping them from their goal? And if that's the case, saying no is a good thing.
What about the opposite of that, though? Somebody that's not as fluid in engaging with others, or would avoid engaging, not because they are people pleasers, maybe they're a little more abrasive and they have to learn how to.
They have, again, strength carries the weakness, extreme becomes a weakness. It's got a lot of good things. In the DISC profile, you'd be a high D person who's very strong, and they get a lot of things done. They pioneer, they make great pioneers. Problem is, they get a lot of things done, but they leave bodies in their wake, and nobody really likes them. But the thing is, that's an overstatement, but the point is, it's the same thing. Everybody has to go, okay, this is a strength, but am I carrying it too far? And maybe I need to pull it back a little bit here. So the person that's on the other side, they're very good at not getting sucked into things and not pleasing other people, but sometimes they, without realizing it, are costing themselves business because they're turning people off, and people just think they're rude or crude or whatever. I mean, I had I'm trying to remember who it was, so I hope I don't do any danger or something, not be sitting in the room, but I just tried to do business with somebody, and he was so rude. It was just so crude, and I was trying to do, I think it was trying to get my car inspected. And they had an ad on this thing saying they did car inspections. So I pulled my car in there to get a car inspection. This guy's working on this thing. And I said, he's just ignoring me. He's over here right in front of me, just ignoring me. And so, and we're around the counter, and then finally, after waiting, I said, I'd like to get my car inspected. And he goes, really? Yeah, I'm sorry, you do car inspections, right? Yeah, we do. Fine. And then he walks off to the back. And he takes him about 5 minutes, and then I'm thinking, what did I do here? So, anyway, I just get in my car and left. So I don't know. And I told somebody about that, and he said, it's just him, man. It's just the way he is. He doesn't have much energy.
It's not acceptable, though. It's not. You don't want him representing.
No, and I don't know how he has any business.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's surviving. I don't
It's
know.
not acceptable.
It is not acceptable.
Yeah,
Let's all get together and go.
right. That's how he is. That's how she is. That's not acceptable.
Did you file a complaint with Better Business Bureau?
I was pretty sure, Rochelle, he did not have a membership with Better Business Bureau. But he also did not have any business from Kim Beckham, and nor is he going to have any.
Right.
So no, it's not acceptable. And that's a good point. We are responsible for working on our leadership.
Exactly.
I tell people sometimes, they say, well, I just got a hot temper. That's just me. That's just the way I am. No.
So you need to work on
That's
that.
that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
I need to work on that. Good point. Anybody else? Well, if I can help you, if you're interested in our leadership training classes, if you'd like to do some one-on-one coaching, or if I can help you with your business some way, love to help you, love to help you grow. Thank you for this time to be in front of you today. I always enjoy talking about leadership. Thank you, Better Business Bureau. Love being a part of that. All right, Michelle, back
I'm
to
so
you.
happy to have you.
Great job, as usual.
So good, y'all. So good. I'm definitely I need to get some stuff from you, Kim, I'm interested. So I like to end it all, y'all. We've got a few minutes left. It's just always a fun time. We've got some September trivia questions. How's that? The month of September. You got the clicker, Kim?
Right there.
Right there in front of me.